I heard there was this podcast, yo, about something funny like wrestling and so. And you really care about wrestling, don't you? There are drop kicks and leases all over the board, and then something called a wrestling hold. It's a super duper fun podcast about wrestling. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. That wrestling show. Well, Fro and Bill and maybe a guest or two is here to hold your hand and guide you through a podcast about wrestling. We have a lot of extreme fun, and that's without the gun, because I needed something to rhyme fun with. That wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show, that wrestling show. Well, sit your behinds gently down and listen to our podcast sound, and try to guess this week's pro question. You win a lot of cool things, and also help Bill with his bills. That's a super duper fun competition. That wrestling show. 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 That wrestling show.
Just in time for National Honesty Day, it's That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. Hello everyone, I am Bill, and joining me is one of the most honest people you'll ever hear on any podcast, Fro.
That's such a fucking lie. That is.
He's being
that
quote.
Yeah, that is. I have trouble being honest. I will be honest about that. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So this week.
So why are we a day late?
Oh yeah,
Bill?
Let me mention that real quick. The reason that we're a day late was there was a bad storm in my area. And I thought it was going to be really bad because they were calling for tornado and thunderstorms. Fortunately, it just missed me. Very fortunate about that. So that's why we're a day late.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is hurt. No one's, no damage, no injuries, thank goodness. So
Yeah, that's good.
Yep. So this week we're going to preview 2 shows that are happening this weekend. We're going to be previewing the Crockett Cup, and we're also going to be previewing
the what?
The Crockett Cup.
What the fuck is the Crockett Cup?
Well, it's a tag team tournament. Ring of Honor, the NWA, New Japan, and CMLL.
Ah.
They're all involved in that.
I have not heard about this.
Huh. I thought you would have.
No.
And we're also going to be previewing Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view.
Plus, we're going to get into your weekly news and discussions of topics. So, but I do want to mention, if you've been in our Facebook group the last week, you probably have seen a tremendous rise in members joining. That's because I was finally able to figure out, I was, changing a couple things on the site. One of them was the link to our Facebook group, which we'll mention at the end of the show. And I was able to find a way, and I didn't even realize that you could do this, Fro. This shows you how smart I am.
Mm-hmm.
To connect your Facebook page, because there is a page for that wrestling show. I don't mention it a lot because I don't really use it a lot. But I was able to link it to the Facebook group that we promote every week.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, within a week, we've had over 40 new people join our Facebook group.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I got a good feeling it's going to keep going for a while. So
I got a feeling. Ooh.
Yeah, so I want to thank everyone who has signed up or who has joined in the last week or so. And hopefully we'll get this group going and be as more awesome.
Welcome everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So last week, Fro, we decided to have a little fun with the name change of the Viking Experience. Not knowing that Monday on Raw they would have a name change. As they are now the Viking Raiders. So, okay, I'm okay with that. We had a couple of suggestions, and I'll read them to you. Our first one is from Darian, one of our new members. Darian suggested Modern Day Vikings, but he also wrote abbreviated to MDV, and MDV is the promoted term on commentary. I like that. I could go with that. The other one is a pretty good one. Malcolm thinks that they should be called the Pillage People.
I like that is very, very funny.
I could go with that one.
A play on the village people, and I like that word, Malcolm. Good one.
That's a really good one. I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear their version of In the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hey, I know how it will go. It will go like in the Nordic.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, where every Viking's tough in the Nordic, where you have to be rough in the Nordic.
They likely don't give a fuck in the Nordic.
In the Nordic. In the Nordic. Yeah. That's how it will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to people singing.
Yep, pretty much.
Even
though the last week we promoted National Karaoke Week, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get into some news here.
That's an amazing name, Malcolm. I think that's the winner.
And you know what you win, Malcolm? You win our respect and love. There were no prizes. This was just for fun. So.
and our respect and love is so much worth.
Okay, so we have interesting news because AEW they have the Double or Nothing pay-per-view coming up in 4 weeks. And with that, they were promoting StarCast, which is the convention of all these podcasts that are coming together again. Of course, they did not ask us to come. I don't know why. I mean, we probably would have been great in Las Vegas. But anyway, 2 people who were going to be a part of it have been pulled from it because of WWE.
Oh, no.
The Undertaker and Kurt Angle, who were going to be appearing, have now been pulled.
Aww.
So, Conrad Thompson, I call him Conway Twitty, but that's just my joke. He made a comment about this, and I'll read it, because this was broke by Sports Illustrated. In the interview, he said, "The announcement went wide and viral. I was told it had gotten WWE's attention and that Vince McMahon texted The Undertaker about the appearance. Taker's representation, which is a company called Get Engaged, called to tell me WWE says he can't do it. I had a friend discuss the situation with Vince McMahon, and I was assured the heat wasn't on me or my event, but rather that The Undertaker shouldn't be doing personal appearances outside of WWE. I was assured that damages would be covered, a suitable replacement offered, or some sort of compromise to make everyone happy." Get Engaged returned the deposit to Thompson in regarding suitable replacements. Thompson mentioned, "I suggested Vince McMahon, Hunter, or Stephanie McMahon." And
because that is definitely going to happen.
Right.
If they don't send you the Undertaker, they're definitely going to send themselves.
Exactly. And I said I would donate 100% of the proceeds to Connor's cure and match the donation personally, which would turn a negative into a positive for everyone involved.
Aww.
So that was with The Undertaker. With Kurt Angle, he said, "I asked to keep Kurt Angle and announce Shawn Michaels as the replacement for The Undertaker. I offered to book everyone through the office. I wanted to play by the rules, but I felt like I already had, since each of these guys were actively marketing themselves for outside appearances via booking agents or their own social media. I have checked in daily for a week now, and nothing is changing." So, unfortunately, if you're going to be in Las Vegas, no Undertaker, no Angle.
They are just destroying my kitchen.
They are.
Yes.
However, a much more suitable replacement was announced.
Oh my god. I can't wait.
And it's not a WWE wrestler.
Oh, no?
No. I think it's much better, in my opinion.
Than The Undertaker?
Well, okay,
really?
Okay, maybe not. Let me rephrase that. Anyone that WWE would have sent in Undertaker's replacement, this person is a much better choice.
Okay.
It is Japanese legend Kenta Kobashi.
Oh! Yeah. That's a good pick.
That is a great choice.
Yeah.
If I was in Vegas, I probably would be going for the Kenta Kobashi. I guess it would be Q&A or something, but...
Viva Las Vegas!
Oh, you know what? While we're talking about that, this was a little funny. I'm not sure if you're going to get the reference on this one, but
Probably not.
now
If it's
one of the things
American.
that's happening. One of the things that's happening is they're having an after party in Vegas. SoCal Uncensored is the host of the after party.
Wow. Okay.
They announced the musical guest for the after party in Vegas.
Let me try to guess.
All right, I'm going to let you try a guess.
Is it a female or a male?
Male.
Okay. Is it a group or a singles person?
It is a group.
It's a group.
It is a group.
Something Maroon 5.
No.
Okay, tell me.
80s hair metal band LA Guns.
Wouldn't guess that in a 1,000
there's no way you
guesses. I wouldn't guess that for a million. Oh my god.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, Kazarian is the heavy metal rebel, so.
Well, still.
Now
What a weird choice.
Now their big hit. Their big hit was a power ballad. Many years ago called The Ballad of Jane.
Yeah.
They had other. I'm sure they had other hits.
I have never ever heard of them in my entire life.
Their other hits, if I can, let me find their singles. Well, their biggest hit, like I said, The Ballad of Jane, went all the way to number 33 in the U.S.
Wow.
So it did pretty good, and went 25 into mainstream rock. They also had It's Over Now, Sex Action, Rip and Tear, Malaria. That is an actual song.
Really?
Yeah, Malaria.
Why the fuck do you name your song after a disease?
No, that's a song.
It's also a disease.
Well, yeah, I know it's a disease.
Yeah, so why do you name it after a disease? Malaria.
It was the 80s. That's all I could say.
It's like having a song called I'm HIV positive.
Right.
Well, welcome to Frozen States. I'm HBO positive. Yeah. Can't wait for that.
Cancer. Cancer.
There's already a musical called Rent all about that, so.
Yeah, and then let's not forget the hit number from Lease, Everyone Has AIDS.
Everybody has AIDS.
AIDS. Alright. Now, there's been an interesting trend lately in WWE, if you could believe it or not. And that is personalities leaving, quitting, basically, WWE.
Okay.
Ringside News made a list because the latest one who quit was Dean Malenko.
Oh.
And he'd been there forever.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be in there for at least 30 years.
Well, not that long, but it was a long time.
Yeah.
So let's go through, Fro, every person who has left the company in the last month and a half, probably. So it starts with Arn Anderson. This is where the dominoes begin. It starts with Arn Anderson being fired for the whole thing with Alicia Fox being drunk. And, oh, by the way, Alicia Fox was there Monday night on Raw. It was hard for me to actually watch her on Raw. Just because of everything that happened with the Arn situation. Then, Road Dogg stepped down from his position as a co-writer for SmackDown, co-head writer. Now, he's not gone from the company. That's the thing. He's not gone from the company. He's just done being a co-head writer. Then we have R.D. Evans, who was a writer. He quit WWE because Vince McMahon got mad at him for letting Bret Hart mention his name during the Hall of Fame speech.
Oh my God.
And instead of Vince
Jesus Christ
basically firing him on the spot, RD was like, no, I'm not giving you the satisfaction. I'm quitting.
That is so petty.
That is. That
is so petty.
Let me say this. From Vince's point of view, hold on a minute. From Vince's point of view, I understand that he doesn't want to get the recognition, which I get. But to get mad at a writer for doing that part I do not like.
Yeah, no, it's silly.
Yeah. Then we have Dave What the?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Then we have Dave Schilling. Not
Who?
a lot of people are probably going to know him. But,
yeah.
But that's because he had only been he'd been in the writing crew for only a few weeks.
Okay.
Then Luke Harper. This has been well known. He's asked for his release.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
It looks like they're not going to give it to him. Looks like he's going to have to ride out the rest of the contract.
Yeah. It can't be much longer, can it?
I don't think so.
No. It's sad because I love Luke Harper.
I know. You should have read the tweets that the wrestlers were putting out, how much love they had for him.
He's such an underrated wrestler.
Oh my God, yes. He's probably one of the more underrated big men of all time.
Yeah, it's times like that I actually miss the Wyatt family.
Then we have Sasha Banks. We've already talked about that.
Oh, by the way, where is Brad Wyatt?
Oh, we're going to talk about that when I'm done with this list.
Oh, okay.
So Sasha Banks, we've gone over the Sasha Banks situation. We don't have to talk about it. Dustin Rhodes, Goldust.
Yeah.
He requested his release. Vince initially said no way, but Triple H basically talked Vince into letting him go.
Yeah.
And he is booked for Double or Nothing to face Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, the latest one, Dean Malenko. And Dean Malenko will be at StarCast. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's a small list, but to have this all within a matter of weeks. That's the thing. Okay, so you asked about Bray Wyatt. And I'm actually glad you did, because I forgot about this until you mentioned it. So, I
haven't seen him in forever.
Well, for the last several weeks, there have been these vignettes that have been coming. One week, there was a vignette of this puppet popping out through a box. And then there was another vignette where you see like a collection of these small toys. And then there's like this Annabelle-like doll at the end.
Okay.
So, this is gonna lead to something, right? Then we get to Raw Monday night. And we have Bray Wyatt's Firefly fun. It's very weird. So basically, Bray Wyatt has changed from this, cult-like figure to a Mr. Rogers neighborhood kind of person.
No.
Yes. Oh my God. Fro, the internet has had such mixed reactions.
Oh.
But it's funny. I liked it. And I'll tell you why. Because you have Bray. He still has the bit of the demonic side of him.
Right.
And it's all of a sudden it's like something changed with him, and he's become this demented Mr. Rogers neighborhood. And it's actually called the Firefly Funhouse.
Okay.
So he's got the sweater on him, and there are sound effects during this. So it's like, well, you see, I used to be a bad person. And then you could hear kids going, boo! And it's like, well, I keep a cutout of my former self, so I can remember what I used to be, so I can never go that way. And then he pulls out a chainsaw at the end. And,
oh my God.
This was like the biggest thing talked about on Raw from Monday night. Like, it was such a mixed reaction of, this was good, this was great, this was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was, I enjoyed it. And the only reason I say that is because, as an uncle of 4 kids, there are some good kid shows, and then there are some that are shit. So I took it from the point of, Bray Wyatt is running a shitty kids TV show. That's how I took it.
Okay.
So, judge for yourself, but we'll have to wait to see what comes next. All right. Time for my weekly question here, Fro.
Yes.
Did you watch the latest Dark Side of the Ring?
I did. I actually binged
the first
3 of
3?
the first 3 this week. First one about the Montreal Screwjob was okay. No, the second one about
that was the second.
Montreal.
The first one was Randy and Elizabeth.
Yeah, that I liked. Maybe the best of those 2 actually.
Okay.
Mostly because I've heard about the Montreal Screwjob and I didn't know anything about the first one.
Right.
But the third one,
Jesus
Christ, this was good.
This was the best one.
Yep, best one so far.
And
by
far. Before we get into our thoughts about this, I want to mention this, and this is good news for this show. The rise of the audience has gone up since this show began. So the first one with Savage and Elizabeth had 154,000 viewers. Second one, the Montreal Screwjob, had 181,000. This week's episode with Bruiser Brody had 214,000 viewers.
Nice.
And this is on Viceland, which I know not everyone gets, but to have 200,000 is really good.
Yeah, it's their. I think it is their highest rated show ever. If I'm not 110% incorrect.
And I actually want to talk about this because the whole Bruiser Brody situation is one of those where it is a tragedy, yet at the same time it's one of the biggest mysteries, I think, of the wrestling business.
Definitely.
I don't want to go into much detail. I mean, I'm not going to, we're not going to dissect every single thing, but...
Yeah, we're not going to spoil it.
Well, yeah, I know. Because the title of the episode's, what happens in the title of the episode. But what I liked about this was they had two of the main people that were, there the night that Brody got stabbed, with Tony Atlas and Dutch Mantel.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had Abdullah the Butcher, who wrestled in Puerto Rico frequently. I'll tell you, because I've heard the story many times of what happened with Bruiser Brody, and it's a tragedy.
I haven't, and that's what kind of surprised me, that I did not know anything about this going in, and I was sitting there, I was like, what the fuck happened? I was so shocked. I was like, whoa, really?
And it's like Tony Atlas comes off as this big hero, if you think about it. Because he's he stays with Bruiser Brody the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was about ready to beat the shit out of Jose Gonzalez, Invader number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you got to understand, Fro, and I guess this is an American thought of mine, what I'm about to say. Even though, yes, Puerto Rico is technically a territory of the United States. Puerto Rico is so fucking different from the U.S. in every aspect. And it's like Tony said in the documentary. The police thought what had happened was an angle, because they didn't know, what wrestling was back then. They thought everything that happened was real. So you get the description, they get the descriptions and all that, the testimonies, and it's like, okay, we'll call you when the trial happens. Well, the trial happened without any of them even knowing, and this son of a bitch gets off scot-free with murder.
Yep.
And that's why it's so different. You could be a tourist in Puerto Rico. You could commit a small crime, and you could end up being in jail for 15 years for doing the smallest thing.
Yeah.
And the thing about all of this that pisses me off, still to this day, is that the man that killed Bruiser Brody is still out scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
There has never been another trial. There's never been another investigation. It's basically, what's done is done. And I think that's the worst thing. It is the most bullshit thing. And it's fucked up.
And it would be very easy to find him.
Oh, God, yeah. Now, what they didn't say in the documentary, and what I'm about to tell you, Fro, this might surprise you. Because Bruiser Brody was huge in Japan. I mean, he was almost like a god in Japan.
Right.
Jose Gonzalez was supposed to go on a tour of Japan. If he had gone on that tour of Japan, there were about 2 or 3 wrestlers that were going to basically kill him. They were gonna retaliate and kill him for killing Bruiser Brody. We would have had an international gang warfare with Puerto Rico and Japan.
Wow.
Had he gone. But I think... But what was...
Wow.
But what was good about the documentary was we actually had the wife and the son. Because I've seen the wife before. Because there's another documentary about Bruiser Brody. I've never seen the son talk about this. And you could tell the son is very bitter about it.
Mm.
And he has every right to be. A guy killed his dad. I would think you and I, we've known each other well enough to say that if that happened to our respective fathers, we would be as bitter as this young man is.
Oh, definitely.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this young man thinks, not on an everyday basis, but on, some basis, he's hoping that Jose Gonzalez is dead.
Mm.
And, he's in his 70s. I looked it up. He's in his 70s. So I don't know how much longer he's going to have to live. But you know what I found the most interesting about that whole documentary?
No.
Is the fact that they contacted Carlos Colon and Jose Gonzalez to do this. And they're like, no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of... sorry.
That's okay.
Stop. Shut up, cell phone. I forgot to turn my sound off. Yeah, no, that's the problem. Like, it makes them look extremely guilty.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Carlos, it's very weird because Carlos has never been, he's never been categorized as someone who planned this or someone who, perpetrated the setup. He never has. Because that whole thing almost killed his promotion. Like, after Bruiser Brody had been killed, Tony Atlas never went back. Dutch Mantel never went back. A lot of guys never went back to wrestle in Puerto Rico. And one wrestler even said he would never go back to Puerto Rico because of this. And I don't blame him. Because the murderer is still free.
Yeah, no.
But
who blames him? Nobody.
Right. But if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to check this out. This is
Yeah, I did really recommend it. I did not think it would be this good.
It's the best. I don't know how honestly, I don't know how the other three are going to be better than this one. I really doubt that. Yeah. By the way, Sting was at Fallon last week or last night. Oh, he was on Jimmy Fallon last night.
Oh yeah, Sting was.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty.
Wrong cool. Sting though.
Yeah. I know the New Day. Sting. I know the New Day and the Bellas were on Double Dare this week.
Wrong Sting, by the way.
Oh, you jerk.
I tricked Bill. Yes. Okay.
Very good.
Yes, they were at the Double Dare, yeah.
They were. I didn't watch it, actually.
Me neither.
Only because... Well, I just didn't want to watch the Bellas on Double Dare.
Yeah.
I would have watched New Day, but I just didn't have the time.
I saw the New Day did their rap battle. That was fun.
Oh, I missed that.
We will watch it together afterwards. Okay. I will send you. Okay. I will send you a link.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's get into some. We have other news here. Eve Torres. She's we've seen her in the past lately at the Evolution pay-per-view Royal Rumble. she made a pretty brave statement the other day. She came out and admitted on social media that she was raped 10 years ago. I'll read the Instagram that she put out about this. It took me 10 years to admit to myself and then to others that I was a survivor of rape. It happened on a night with mutual friends, alcohol, and while I was out of town in an environment that was unfamiliar to me. At the time of the assault, I used all of these circumstances to tell myself that I had participated in the act, when in reality, my verbal and physical resistance indicated otherwise. It is so common for women to believe that because we didn't physically fight him off, we invited it and it wasn't rape. This is not true. When we are faced with a situation that seems impossible to get out of or would require a battle we don't believe we are equipped for, we often feel we have no other choice than to continue without resistance. This form of cooperation can even be considered a survival tool in some circumstances, but it does not mean that we allowed it, wanted it, asked for it, invited it, or chose it. If we did not offer our consent, it is sexual assault, and in many cases, including mine, it was rape. It took me embarking on my journey in Women Empowered to garner the confidence to acknowledge the reality of what happened, and then share my story with others. In order to authentically ask others to advocate for themselves, I first had to be an advocate for myself. Self-defense doesn't end if and when an assault takes place. Self-defense is the mindset that we deserve to be protected, supported, and safe, and that may mean seeking help after an incident occurs. One might think that acknowledging a sexual assault would make someone feel powerless. In reality, it wasn't until I was able to identify it as such that I was finally able to take back the control that I felt was stolen from me that night. I know that if I were put in the exact same situation all these years later, I now have an arsenal of physical and psychological tools to defend against him. As the shame was stripped away, my power emerged.
Yeah. Good on her.
Yeah, that takes a lot of guts to do what she did.
A lot of courage.
It really does.
Yeah, so the two rap battles that was in Drop the Mic, it's called, on TNT. It was Mark Cuban versus Rusev and Dana.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yes. And the New Day versus SWV.
All right.
It's very, very cool. So we'll watch that later.
Yeah, we'll watch it once we're done.
Yep.
So WWE came out with their first quarter report this week, and it was not good. No,
I saw this. A little surprising numbers, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it? No, I'm not surprised at all.
Let's go through the key notes real quick.
Yeah.
Revenues went down. They were at $182.4 million. Operating income reflected a loss of $6.8 million. The adjusted OIBDA 1 of $12.4 million was within the range of guidance. WWE Network average paid subscribers increased 2%.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Digital video views increased 15%. WrestleMania highlights. Well, there were actually a lot of good highlights for WrestleMania. Broke MetLife Stadium's highest grossing entertainment event record, $16.9 million.
Wow.
WWE Network subscribers viewed 23.2 million hours during WrestleMania week.
Holy shit.
17.9 million hours were consumed on digital and social media platforms. WWE Network's total subscribers reached 2 million the day after WrestleMania. But that's not the big news. I think the best or the funniest thing from all of this was Vince McMahon during this meeting saying that he blames the talent for not being there as the reason why we had this dip.
Fucking hell, what an ass.
Well,
what a fucking ass.
Well, Vince, when you sign guys to these contracts where they only have to appear 4 times a year.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that news took a really big hit on the stock market. Like they went down. I think it was like 14% in the stock market the day that happened.
Yeah,
which is not a good sign whatsoever.
No, I guess what? I don't feel sorry for them at all.
Well, I'm glad that I don't have a stock in WWE.
This happens when you have a shit product.
Well, look. I mean, we've said this. When you focus mainly on guys who are there, not even a quarter of the year.
Yeah,
it's gonna come back to bite you, and that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
There is one other thing that I do want to mention from this first quarter report is that there's going to be some changes with WWE Network that's going to take place later in the year. WWE released a statement saying that the focus for the network going forward is the launch of its new platform in partnership with Endeavor Streaming and Massive. This new platform will provide flexibility to bring new features and experiences to the company's fans and enable the delivery of content in multiple languages. So there's going to be changes of the WWE Network, which honestly, after thinking about it, might not be a bad idea because, you can't stay, the look of it can't stay that way forever. So, I'm fine with that. I can't wait to see what it's going to be. It's going to take a while, but, but yeah, WWE's just not having a good week, folks. Let's just say it like it is.
No, and I haven't gone back to watching Raw or SmackDown. I will continue watching the pay-per-views, but Raw
was a good mix, I thought, this week.
Okay.
They focused mainly on having a number one contender for Seth's Universal title. You had a good triple threat match with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Rey Mysterio. You had a really good match with Cedric Alexander and Cesaro. And yeah, we'll talk about why Cesaro is on Raw in a moment. The War Raiders come off looking good as heels. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was actually a decent Raw.
Okay.
So
yeah, I still don't have any.
It's okay.
Like, I'm still going to watch the pay-per-views.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
so as I said a moment ago, Cesaro is on Raw. Even though we went through last week the shake-up roster. So let me tell you what happened, folks. For those who haven't heard, there was a lot of shaking and moving within WWE. So 2 people that had moved to Raw were Andrade and Zelina Vega.
Right.
Well, depending on which report you want to go with, either Fox saying, well, we'd like to have some Hispanic content on the show, or Charlotte, hey, my man is not with me, what the hell is going on? Zelina Vega and Andrade are now back on SmackDown. But this causes another issue. Well, Zelina Vega is married to Aleister Black.
Yeah.
And those two now can't be together, right? Well, Aleister Black got moved to SmackDown, breaking up the team that he had with Ricochet.
Right.
So, now what do you do? Well, Sheamus is out of... He's a little bit banged up right now. Cesaro's doing well. So we're going to move Cesaro to Raw now. So this shake-up that we thought was only going to be a week is still going on because now the B team has moved to SmackDown.
What?
Man.
Wow.
Can't get it right. Can't get it. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wow.
Thought I'd mention that. But there is one good thing we could talk about. New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors tournament is right around the corner. And this week, they announced the field for this year's tournament. There are going to be some familiar names. There's going to be some new people that are in the tournament. And we have a mystery participant.
Ooh.
So let's go through the participants that have been announced. And pretty much it's all filled out except for that one spot. So we have Suke Taguchi. We have Tiger Mask. We have Rocky Romero. We have Sho and Yo. So they're going to be a part of it. Will Ospreay. Taiji Ishimori. El Desperado, Taka Michinoku, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Bushi, Flip Gordon will be in it, Teton, or Titan, for those that want to go by how it's spelled, Marty Scurll, Dragon Lee, Robbie Eagles, Jonathan Gresham, Bandito, Shingo Takagi, and the mystery wrestler.
Is it really called that? The mystery wrestler?
Well, it's actually called X right now.
Okay.
That person will be announced on May the 4th, and that will also be when they announce the blocks.
The what?
The blocks.
Oh, the blocks.
Yeah.
I was like, the bollocks? I was like, what?
No, not the bollocks. The tournament begins. Yep, they're going to have a bollocks this year.
I was like, what the fuck? My hearing.
So
sometimes, yes.
The tournament begins May 13th, and it concludes on June the 5th. So, and they will announce the final competitor on May the 4th, and that's probably when we're going to know the blocks. Not bullocks, blocks.
Oh,
I got
it.
Yep. So, we have a couple of shows to talk about.
Yes.
We'll start with tonight. Oh man, Fro has.
Who lost Fro?
Yep, we've lost him. So anyway, tonight we'll start with Ring of Honor. Basically, it's a co-promoted event. NWA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, CMLL. It is the Crockett Cup. Now, Fro asked what it was. And
yeah.
Well, a long time ago, Fro, when you were a wee little Norwegian, and when I was a baby, The Jim Crockett promotion would hold a tournament, a tag team tournament called the Crockett Cup. And they only had 3 of these, but they were very big because they had teams from all over the world competing. They only did it 3 times. The first 2 are probably the better ones. The third one is just meh. The third one doesn't get talked about a lot, but the first 2 are the ones that get talked about a lot of times. This year's version, not as big. There's only 8 teams in the tournament. Back in the day, it was like 20 or 30 teams. So, what we'll do is we'll go through the non-tournament matches first. And then we'll get into the tournament itself.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the NWA World Women's Championship. Now, this is news because originally Jazz, who used to be in WWE, was going to defend the title. However, earlier this week, she vacated the title due to personal reasons, which we do not know. So we're going to get a new NWA Women's Champion. The challenger originally for the match, Allison Kay, she is in this match. She will be facing Santana Garrett.
Okay.
I guess I'll go first on this one. Santana Garrett's had the title before, but I think Allison, they're both veterans. Both women are. But Allison Kay, I think she's ready to become the next women's champion, so I think Allison Kay will win the NWA Women's title.
Yeah, I've only heard of her, so I will pick her.
Okay.
I haven't heard of the other one.
All right. Then we have the NWA National Heavyweight title. Willie Mack will defend the title against Colt Cabana.
Colt. I'm sorry to say that you will not win here.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting match.
I love Colt.
But I'm going to go Willie Mack.
Yeah, me too.
And our final non-tournament match for the NWA World Heavyweight title, Nick Aldis defending against Marty Scurll.
Ooh. I love Marty.
This is going to be a really good match.
This I can't wait to see.
They've actually been hyping this for well over 2 months.
Yeah. This is definitely the match of the night so far. Oh, I'm going to go with Scurll.
I'm going to go Nick Aldis on this one.
Yeah.
My only reason is because Marty's going to Japan to be in the Super Juniors, so that's my only reason. But,
okay. I didn't know that.
So, now we're going to go to the tournament itself. So, it is 8 teams. Whoever wins is going to win the Crockett Cup. I'm not sure if there's anything else at stake in this, so we'll just say there isn't, but there are 2 blocks. There's a block A and a block B. So we will go. Why don't we do it like this, Fro? We're gonna do the blocks. We're gonna do block A first, and then we'll go to block B. So
okay.
So then we'll see how our brackets go. So block A, the first of the 2 matches, the Briscoes versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Ooh, rock and roll.
I'm going to go with the Briscoes on this one.
Okay.
The other match in Block A, PCO and Brody King against Satoshi Kojima and Yuji Nagata. They are the team from New Japan.
I'm going with New Japan.
I am going with New Japan as well. So, Your Block A final would be Rock and Roll Express versus Kojima and Nagata. Who would you have in that one?
Don't know.
All right, do you need time on that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
You go first.
So my Block A final would be the Briscoes against Kojima. Excuse me, Kojima and Nagata. I'm going to say the Briscoes on mine.
Okay.
So yours is Rock and Roll Express against Kojima and Nagata?
I think I will go with New Japan.
Okay. So you have Kojima and Nagata in the finals.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Block B now. This match might be the best looking match of the first round. Flip Gordon and Bandito versus Stuka Jr. and Guerrera Maya Jr.
Ooh.
Going to be a lot of high flying in that one.
Yeah, that is going to be cool. I don't know. I will go with the first team, I think.
Flip Gordon and Bandito.
Yeah, I love Flip. Flip.
This is such an interesting match. This match might actually be the hardest pick of the first round. You know, I'm gonna go with the Mexican team because if I go with one international team, I might as well go with the other and not look racist here in the U.S. So I'm gonna go Stuka and Maya. And then our other B block match, Crimson and Jax Dane, they will face the winner of a wild card battle royal, which is basically a bunch of teams in it. The last team gets the last spot. They face Crimson and Jax Dane.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Crimson and Jax Dane only because I have no idea who's in this battle royal.
Yeah, me neither. So I totally agree with you.
Okay, so your Block B final is Flip Gordon and Bandito against Crimson and Jax Dane.
I'm still going with Flip.
Okay, so you're going Flip and Bandito. My Block B final is Stuka and Maya against Crimson and Dane. I'm going to go with Crimson and Jax Dane on that one. So, your final match, Fro. This is the finals that you have. Kojima and Nagata versus Flip Gordon and Bandito.
Oh, I would love to see that. I think I will go with New Japan.
Okay, so you have Kojima and Nagata winning the Crockett Cup.
Yes.
My final match is the Briscoes versus Crimson and Jax Dane. I'm going to go with Crimson and Jax Dane to win it.
Okay.
So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And if you want to see this event, folks, I think there are two ways you could see this. You could order it on Fight TV, and I think it's also going to be up on Honor Club as well. Yeah, it is going to be up on Honor Club. 7 p.m. is the start of the event. So if you want to see it, folks, that's where you go, is either the Fight TV or using Honor Club on ROHWrestling.com. I think,
cool.
You know what? I think I'm going to get that tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any plans, really, so I think I'll watch it.
Sure.
And then there's
together.
Tomorrow night. There's Sunday night. This is Impact's first pay-per-view since their January event. This is Rebellion. And this is taking place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We only have 5 matches announced. There's probably...
It's going to be more.
I would imagine there's going to be more. They just will put it on the spot last minute.
Yeah.
So, let's go through the 5 matches we have. We'll start with Tessa Blanchard against the returning, maybe for one night only, Gail Kim.
Yeah, please Tessa win this, please.
I would think Tessa is going to win this.
I hope so.
I would think. But you never know. Next, the X Division title on the line. Rich Swann defending against Sami Callihan.
Yeah, I think he got it the last pay-per-view, didn't he?
Yeah, Rich Swann, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to keep it. They are hot on him for some reason. I'm not a huge fan, but because he does the same thing he did in WWE. Right. So I'm not a big fan, but I'm okay by him keeping it.
I actually think we're going to get a title change on this one.
Really?
I think Sammy's going to take the title.
Okay, so they're going to do what I love the most in the whole world.
Well, I mean,
what do you call it?
Well, Swan's had the title for 3 months.
Right.
All right, next up, the Impact Tag Team titles will be defended in a Full Metal Mayhem match.
Looking forward to this.
As the champions, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix defend against Santana and Ortiz of LAX.
Yeah, I think LAX will take this, actually.
Ooh. This might actually be the hardest one to pick on this one.
I think so, because they don't really have anything to do.
Yeah, and it could go either way.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with LAX. Although, something that I didn't mention, speaking of Pentagon and Phoenix, the match that aired on TV in Mexico this week with the Young Bucks, where the Young Bucks won the AAA tag titles, drew 5 million viewers in Mexico.
Nice.
WWE would cut their leg off to get 5 million viewers for a match. A tag match in Mexico got 5 million viewers to watch. That's
saying something.
It is. The Knockouts title is on the line. Taya Valkyrie defends against Jordynne Grace.
Yeah. Jordynne Grace is good, though.
I know.
But Taya is going to keep this, isn't she?
I think so. It's not Jordynne's
time
yet. It's not Jordynne's time yet.
I don't like Taya. I told you this.
I know.
I hate her.
I know.
But she's... they love her in Impact, and I was like, it's the Roman Reigns syndrome. Yeah, but they are so pushing her.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Taya as well. As much as I like Jordynne Grace, I really do. And,
I do too.
Oh, I know. And she's really cool on social media. If you ever follow her on like Instagram and Twitter, she's really cool. So, but you wouldn't know because you don't have social media. But that's either here or there. Then we have. What a low blow, Bill. Then we have our main event for the world title, Impact World title. Johnny Impact defends the title against Brian Cage with special guest referee, and I have no idea why he's the referee for this match.
That's such a good question. Why? It's such a stupid thing.
I got nothing against Lance Storm, but he just doesn't fit this. I don't know. So,
yeah, no, it's
Impact
stupid.
And Cage.
Yeah, no, Impact.
I'm going to say Brian Cage.
Okay, I hope you're right, actually.
I think they're going to pull the switch here. So basically, you have one title change. I have 3, actually. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Good luck with that, Bill.
Yeah, thanks. I might need it. So, that event will be on Fight TV as well, or traditional pay-per-view, which is how I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And our Twitter will be covering that event because Impact earned its way back into our rotation with the last pay-per-view, so there will be coverage of this on.
There will be lots.
How many people will be watching it? I'm not really sure. Well, you got at least 2.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Who knows? I think that's it. I believe. Oh, actually, real quick. Did you hear about this poor NXT referee? What happened to him?
No.
He broke his leg at an NXT house show a few days ago because he took a bump during the match. You know, the ref bump where the ref goes down.
Right.
Well, he broke his leg. But this referee, he had enough guts, Fro. He had enough intestinal fortitude to make the 3 count in the match.
Oh.
So while
Good on him.
So while he has a broken leg, he will never have a broken heart.
Good on him.
Yes. That man should get paid extra.
I doubt it.
Well, why don't we do our round of plugs here? You can follow the show on Twitter at Wrestling Show 11. You can join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. Or you can type it into the search bar, That Wrestling Show Fan Group. And I did update the link, so there's a new link this time around. It'll be a lot easier to get to. So if you can't find us there, you can click on the link, check out the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and visit the Patreon page, patreon.com/Bill's World of Podcasts. Mm-hmm. Fro, how was that discussion on Another Digital Citizen with that sex phone person?
Well, she didn't show up because she had prior things to take care of. She someone in her near family got cancer, and she had to take care of it. So,
no, that's understandable.
Yes, but we are going through something called the Mueller report or something.
Oh, the Miller report.
The Miller report or Mahler.
Yeah,
it's
the guy who looks like Robert De Niro.
It's a very obscure report that nobody has heard of, and we go through some some things in it. All
right.
Mm-hmm.
Get some plugs in of other podcasts that I like to listen to. Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn, as they take you through the world of retro wrestling. This week, they discuss the rise and fall of Val Venus, Week 3 of Royal Rankings of the greatest WrestleManias of all time, and they review an episode of Wrestling at the Chase. That is on our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. Also, the wrestling podcast about nothing with former wrestling referee Mike Crockett and Ring of Honor superstar, the Wine City Whaler Brian Malonis. This week, they discuss the WWF's new generation, the good, the bad, and the nothing. Talks about that, their memories of that. And don't forget, Greetings from Allentown with Petey Winson. It's a one-man podcast where he watches one episode of wrestling each week. It's a different show, and he gives you his personal perspective. This week, he takes a look at an episode from NWA Worldwide from 1985. So that is Greetings from Allentown. And for you non-wrestling fans, or maybe if you'd like to listen to some movie podcasts, the Best Pick Movie Podcast, where 3 lovely people, they watch each and every Academy Award-winning Best Picture in no particular order. This week, they discuss Dances with Wolves from 1990.
Do you know what? I love that movie, and I am not ashamed of saying that.
You know, I'm glad my dad's not around for me to say this, because he loves that movie. I love that movie. I've never seen that movie. I know.
Oh my gosh.
And they do have the discussion of, did the Academy get it right? Did they get the Best Picture winner correct? You are the judge for that. And Unspooled, the podcast with Paul and Amy, where they watch every movie from AFI's top 100 films of all time, the 2007 list. This week, they discuss the movie Chinatown.
Oh, such a good movie.
That's a really good movie. I love that movie. So, check out all the podcasts that we just mentioned. Oh, actually, there is one more. This Sunday, Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast. Myself, a Jim Boy Star, and our very special guest, Fro, you might have heard of this person, Jeremy?
Jeremy? No. I can't think. No, I don't think I know who that is.
Well, he happened to join us this week as we discuss the 2011 Royal Rumble match.
Hey, Jeremy, don't cheat on us. Go back to... Don't cheat on us. Go back to your original podcast. Go back to another digital system. Hey, we have another... We have a special segment for Jeremy on our podcast every week called Jeremy's Corner. So...
Oh, okay.
So it's the last 10 minutes of the podcast. We call that.
So check out Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast this weekend. Next week on the show, we are going to review Impact's Rebellion pay-per-view. Fro and I will. I will be reviewing the Crockett Cup. Fro, you don't have to do that one. I'll just...
You know what? If you don't mind, we can watch it together today.
You're going to be able to stay up, though?
Yeah, sure.
It's at 7 p.m. here, so that's like 1 a.m. where you are.
Who cares?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just hope the streaming works out in North Carolina. It probably will. And also... Fro's going to make his prediction for the Kentucky Derby next week.
Yeah, that has to do with horses, right?
Yes. I'll make my pick as well, so don't feel afraid.
Spring roll or horse meat. I think horse meat is going to win.
Oh, jeez. I'm glad you didn't say anything with glue. That's all I'm going to say. Everybody...
Sniff glue. Sniff glue coming to the... do you remember... This is kind of a stupid story, but do you remember that South Park episode where everybody was sniffing glue?
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember that one. Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I might have seen that one.
Yeah, it's I think it's in the third season or something. I don't remember. Anyway,
thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. Everybody have a good, safe weekend. And when you're done doing whatever it is that you do, come right back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always,
brains.
Wrestle on. Hey, wait, what are you doing? Wait, why are you touching my head? No!
Brains!
Ah!